Hello, my name is Shelby Salter, and I will be putting together an exercise program for a senior adult. And to get started, their warm up would include 15 small circles, forward and backwards, 15 medium circles, forward and backwards, and 15 big circles, forward and backwards. And I would also like to implement a lower body stretch as well. I would do the reach for your toes, the hamstring stretch. You want to make sure you're nice and flat back. So I'm coming down. Have a nice flat back. I'm sinking down into the stretch. You can add a little pulse. You want to hold for about 15 to 30 seconds for each one. You can do about 4 sets or 4 reps. Just get nice and loose, nice and warm. The second part of my program, I would like to incorporate, how well their balance is working. And that can be tested by the sit and stand. Or sit to stand. And what that is just for 30 seconds, you'll be seated, and they'll try stand, sit, stand, sit, stand, and they'll try to rep as many as they can for 30 seconds. And what this is testing is their balance and their muscle endurance. And given the information based off that test, will then let us know what we can do further for them. I would also like to incorporate just a very basic standing for 30 seconds. You can do double or single. We're going to start out with double first. So 2-leg stance, double leg standing for 30 seconds. You can use the chair for stability if they become dizzy. It's just for extra precautions, the back of the chair. If this is too easy, if they can stand for 30 seconds without losing their balance or getting lightheaded or dizzy, then you can progress this exercise and take it to a single leg stance for 15 to 30 seconds. And again, the back of the chair is for extra precautions in case they need to grab onto something if they lost their balance. You would want to do this on both sides, equal amount of time. So you wouldn't want to do 15 seconds on one leg and 30 seconds on the other. It wouldn't be 15 and 15 or 30 and 30. Again, back of the chair for extra support. And balance is important as you're older because your vision starts to change, your hearing starts to change, so your proprioception starts to change as well. And like having to stand up from that chair when you're going to get a glass of water could be different now. Your balance could be off and you may fall, break your hip. So it's very important that we train our balance for the activities that we are doing in our everyday life. So as we get older, our muscles become tight as far as like how we sit or how we tend to sit, and a lot of elderly people kind of are hunched over, or they have pronation in their shoulders to where they're forward rolled, or they just have like an excessive forward lean of the neck and head and upper body cross syndrome. And so how we would want to correct that is just staying flat against the wall, focusing on tucking our chin and feeling that alignment, holding it for 8 seconds and releasing, coming back down, and then performing the same thing. Release. And this will help, open up that complex for your neck and allow more movement for you to pull yourself back into a proper position. Another postural exercise that I like to do is, especially for me, because I have, like my shoulders kind of come in. You can see my arms sit in front. I like to focus on pulling my scaps back and squeezing, and that helps me, like, okay, I need to rely on my scaps to touch and feel that pinch, the muscles pinch, to where I'm flat back, I'm not rounded over no more. And this will allow, like, shoulder impingements will reduce because that complex will open up and it'll be in correct alignment. And so as we get older, a lot of nerve problems occur when we're hunched over like this. And so allowing ourselves to pinch and correct ourselves will correct some of that pain and impingement. I would like to also incorporate some lower body exercises for my patient or client, and I would like to try to make it realistic as possible. So in this case scenario, being an elderly adult, this can represent, a true water bottle, or, like a pot or a pan, or something they may have dropped, like a knife, and they haven't picked it up. So starts out on the floor, just be regular squats. And what we're focusing on is, having that proper mechanic, chest up, flat back, picking something up, driving through the hips, driving through the legs, instead of putting all that stress on that back when they bend over. So in having proper mechanics, you can take this here. You can see it takes a lot of stress off your back. Another one that I would incorporate is a time and go, and what that would measure is endurance and their balance as well. How that starts is you have the client sitting in a chair, and when you say go, stand up, walk 10 feet, turn around, come back, sit down. And what this measures is, how fast they can move if they're shuttling across the floor, trying to get to the 10-foot mark and turn around. If they lost their balance turning and going, or coming up from a sit to a stand and they lost their balance. And using this information, you can then regress or progress this exercise. You can regress by just going back to the sit and stand and making sure we can be balanced in our initial movement. And then a progression would be, like adding cones along the 10-foot line, so where they have to go around the cone, and adding obstacles as if it was in the house. I would also like to incorporate some upper body exercises, just to make sure, they are able to pick up what they need to pick up around their house, like a laundry basket or even taking the plate to the sink. And these exercises would look like the YTs and the togethers. So together being here, the Y's being here, and the T's being straight out. And for an elderly patient, I would do 3 sets of 8 for each, and if that is too much, I would just reduce the repetition I would increase the repetition and reduce the sets. So I would go down to 2 sets, 10 repetitions until they feel comfortable and can increase the sets in repetition. I would also incorporate the patient. I'm gonna just move the camera down on the floor. I would also incorporate just shoulder mobility and shoulder control. So come in here with the weight, or not even. I wouldn't even do a weight. I would do like a soft ball, or not like the softball, but like a squishy kind of weighted, something with some weight to it, just
be cautious of the weight being over their head. You want to watch out for, you know, if they were to drop the weight, you wouldn't want it to fall on them. So if it were to fall, you would want to make sure like it wouldn't hurt them. So we're here and we're just doing small circles, and focus on really controlling through that movement. You would go about 15-30 seconds, and if they cannot go that long with their muscle being fatigued, then I would reduce the time as well. I would also do that both sides, same thing. So we're coming here, small circles, increase the circles, controlled movement. And you wanna make note of any like guarding positions, like if the weight doesn't want to go, if they don't want to bring the weight towards their midline, then you want to take that in consideration, that something may be bothering them in their shoulders. We have to really open that up. So really good and stretch, go through that motion.